All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tour de France, Tour de Beer off day. So, what is today's video gonna be about? So, I did go for a bike ride today. I did have a beer of the day for Tour de France or Tour de Beer, even though today's an off day, but I'm behind on that. And I made a bunch of little 1 minute snippets that are all on Instagram and stringing them together. If I could string those all together and make a video for YouTube, great. But I don't want to do that. I mean, there's software, but that's a lot of time, especially when you're doing daily vlog. Those of you who do daily vlogs, kudos to you. That's hard. So here's what I'm doing. I'm just going to do my sort of recap, really mostly talking about yesterday's stage, today's bike ride, and today's beer while I am cooking on the grill. And that's why you see my beautiful little backyard area here. I got my chairs. I call this the Garden of Mud and Mushrooms. And if you are a follower of mine, you will understand why. But I have this. I got the grill going, and I'm going to put on a giant pork chop. Let's talk about the ride for a little bit. Man, I got the allergies starting to kick in now that I'm like here and I'm in the leaves and stuff. So, this beer, not the official beer of the day. A very, very good beer, but it's a beer I've had in the past. And for Tour de Beer, I'm trying to have a different beer each day of Le Tour de France. And there's a little bit more that I will pop into about that. But I've had this beer before. This is the Gezeiten Pilsner. It's the German-style Pilsner from Tributary. I should show you the logo so you can see that. There we go. And I'm having this while I'm cooking my dinner. The official beer of the day, again, it's something I have had before, but it makes sense for what I was doing today. Today's bike ride matches up with today's beer. So let's throw this giant pork chop on here. Yes. Oh, that's a big boy. Salt, pepper, lemon. That's it. Someone today called it the very plain pork chop. Plain is not the word that he used, but it was pretty hilarious. But you know what? When you get the singe, salt, pepper, lemon's all you need. So it might be pretty white. I'm okay with that. It's going to be damn tasty. So that's going on. We're going to bring this down. Low temperature between the barbecue and grill, and let that run for a little bit. So again, let's talk about today's stage. And I will apologize real quick. This is going to have that weird like sidebar, and now I'm realizing front view camera doesn't have the sidebar. Back view camera has a sidebar. Laptop does not. All these things that I've forgotten because I have not done this in a long time. But hey, you know, are you here for super cool looking quality, or are you here for some fun and some beer knowledge and some bike ride stuff? Because that's what I provide. So let's talk about, well, we'll talk about this beer real quick. Why not? It's a German style Pilsner. We talked about German Pilsner. The beer I had yesterday was German Pilsner that was dry hopped, which makes it an Italian Pilsner. This is a German Pilsner, and Tributary's been doing this for a while, and it's really, really good. Classic, dry, noble hops, easy to drink. And a beer that I can have while I'm cooking after I've already had today's beer. Now, today's beer, you might say, well, I can't see the beer. Wah, sorry. You know, yeah, I would love to be able to do that and pour you the beer. But, and here's why. So I stopped at Somme Brewery, S-O-M-E, Somme Brewing Company in York, Maine, after my bike ride. Now, I could take that and take the pictures and take the video. And I got a quick picture and like a 1 minute video so I could throw it on Instagram. But I could talk about the beer and everything else. And I'm talking into my phone. I'm not talking to people there. What's the point of good craft beer? Social elixir, social lubricant, being social. So if I'm there and, oh yeah, that's great, it's nice to talk to you, but let me do that. I'm looking over here, oh, it's nice to, no, craft beer is about people. So I'm talking to the people there. The person who is actually ringing in the beers and maybe my chicken tenders, thank you, Mama Bear, that was so good, is the mom of the brewer. So the founders of Somme Brewing in York, Maine, father and son, So the mom slash wife, she's there helping out. It's a total family business. His sister, Sarah, awesome person. She helps doing the marketing and the promoting and everything else. So Somme Brewery in York is great. Sorry I don't have a beer to show you, but maybe that's why you should just go there. They actually have two locations. York Beach Brewing Company is the second and sister location of Somme Brewery, S-O-M-E. Looks like some, Southern Maine. Maybe that's where you're kind of thinking of that. Exactly. And actually, I was at York earlier to be able to refill my water bottles on the way back because York and Kittery are like right near each other. Oh, hello, kitty cat face. Hi, how you doing? Yes. We have the cat coming in, checking on things. Probably thinks, yeah, hi, Mo. You think I'm going to have food for you. The food's not done, sorry. So they've been brewing for a while. So, geez, I want to say, I moved here in 2012. I want to say they're like 15 years in. So 12, 13 or so is when they started. They've had some other brewers helping them out with recipe design, everything else, but they're really German inspired. A lot of really good lagers, great music scene. It's just an awesome little brewery. So because I did something called Mount Agamenticus, which was my big climb today, it is a Cat 4 climb. It's categorized Cat 4. It's not long. It's still a Cat 4. it's short and steep and punches you in the nuts. At 8% average with a 12% kick at the end. I struggled up it, and I got to look back at my records. I don't think I've done this climb in like 2 years. Managed to not quit. Got to the top. It was awesome. And then screamed down the hills. So I'm like, I am going to have an Agamenticus Amber. Amber. What's an amber? Who makes amber ale anymore? Nobody. And people should make a good amber ale. So I grew up on amber ale. I grew up on my brewing career. I worked for a company that was our flagship, was an amber. So what exactly is an amber ale? It's not a pale ale, but it's not an English bitter. Amber ale is very neutral, and that's the key. When you have an amber that's too hoppy, in my opinion, it's no longer an amber ale. And there are some that are really good. Think of a red ale called Red Nectar. A red ale should also be very balanced. That one's more on the hoppy side. It's damn good. It's hard for me to fall into the red ale, even though it's a classic example. Classic. So amber ale, I am looking for a balance between the malt and the hops. I don't want anything, there's no shining star here. This is a band where the bass player and the guitar player and the drummer and the singer all get along. You're not going to walk out of there going like, they were pretty good. Oh, but that singer. Or, oh, but that drummer. No, everything plays together with an amber ale. It's very balanced. That's what it should be. Amber ale is kind of on an American side too, because it's not an English bitter. So you're looking at pale ale or Pilsner, mostly a pale ale, maybe some Vienna, maybe some Munich, to be able to add a different bit of depth into it. You want an American ale, like, or ale yeast, I should say, like Chico. You could go with a European yeast like a London 3, but London 3 tends to not flocculate as well, and it can be kind of hazy, and you don't want it to be hazy at all. You want clean and crisp. And then for hops, Pearl, Cascade. Yeah, I feel like that would be perfect. Pearl Ale, because it's a little German, a little noble, whatever. It just gives you your bitterness and a little bit of grassiness. And something like Cascade in the middle. Think about your hop additions, traditional hop additions. You boil it for an hour, 60 minute, 30 minute, 0. Your 60 minute of Pearl, your 30 minute of Cascade, and then you finish with Cascade again. You're getting Cascade in the flavor. You're getting Pearl in your bitterness to balance it out, and then you get Cascade in some more flavor and aroma. If I was designing an amber ale recipe, not that I know anything about that, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah. So as we're drinking beer, we're talking about beer, and now we should drink more beer, and we should talk about yesterday's stage. All right, so I just took a quick check on the... We're about 300 or so. I'm probably going to want to bring this up just a little bit. Not too much. I want this to slow cook. Anyway, you're not here for my grilling. You're here for my bike takes and beer knowledge. Bike takes. Tour de France. Stage 15. Yesterday. Holy shit. Yeah, I can swear here, right? Yeah, yes, I can. Yes, I can. And wow, what happened? So with yesterday's video, I said I knew what happened, like end result, but I didn't know how it happened, and I speculated about the results and what it was going to mean for the future of the tour after the rest day. But geez, wow, like so much more than I possibly could have thought about. And some people brought this up. I got to get rid of that light. That's weird. Yeah. Total eclipse of the heart. Oh, anyway. Yeah, the ramifications. All right, let's just back up. Jonas is out. If you didn't know that, sorry, I just spoiled that for you. But before you watch these videos, you definitely should be paying attention. Jonas crashed out. The way they crashed out was really, really awkward. And I saw that, and yes, there's road furniture, and a lot of other people have talked about it. But I thought it was weird, and I'm not even that experienced. And then someone else had mentioned it. The way they went into this right-hand turn with a piece of road furniture in, like, here. Like, you can go this way, or you can go all the way here. If the middle piece of my mixtape thing is the road furniture. The lead motobike went this way. And so the Peloton followed this way. This was the easy way. What is that dude doing? I don't know. Why did they all follow him? Because they are used to doing that? I don't know. Is that the right thing? Is that the cause of the crash? I can't say the cause of the crash. Which brings us to the second point, as other people are saying, the elephant in the room. Drug testing. Now, this could be a delicate subject. We need drug testing in cycling. We need it, especially because right now the riders are awesome. They're so fast. They're so strong. And in the U.S., we're tainted, and we're afraid to embrace fast riders because we're going to be like, they're probably dirty. Like, that's what we automatically think. And you know what? You can have your opinions about Lance, not opinions about Lance. I have opinions about Lance. I'm not going to go into that. The bottom line is, Lance, you spoiled it because now everyone questions every single thing, especially when it comes to cycling in America, and American champions. So yeah, Lance, you spoiled it. That's what it comes down to. You've done some other things, whatever you have, whatever, but you painted that picture, and it's going to take a long time to get out of that picture. It's sort of like the WWF when it was full of steroids and full of chair smashing, and now it's like, oh, what do you mean Chris Benoit died? Yeah, because he had CTE because he got smashed in the head so many times and he killed himself and his family. They can't walk away from that. You can't walk that backwards. You know, NFL, yeah, you can't walk that backwards. So when you have concussions, you can't walk that backwards. Tua Tagovailoa should not be playing football, and I love Tua and I love the Dolphins. He should not be playing football. I'm sorry. That's how it works. So, slight tangent. Anyway, yeah. And, ooh, mosquitoes. Here we go. Ooh. Sorry for the abrupt switch, but man, those mosquitoes are starting to get to my head. So, anyway, and that's good that happened because I was starting to go off on Lance, and that's not where I wanted to go with this podcast and with this episode. What I wanted to say is, we need drug testing, and I'm happy for it. But when they write their own rules that says we will not test between 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. is that what it was, and they break their own rule, that's a problem. That's problem number one. Now, that's what you could be like, oh, well, we know when they're testing, so let's just do whatever when they're not testing. You can kind of get around that. Okay, fine. Fair argument. And actually, Phil Guyman brought that point up, and I can't disagree with that. But why did they make that rule? The second part is, why not do it the next day before the rest day so it doesn't impact the race? The performance that you have to have for focus going downhill. Now, was waking up at 2 a.m. the cause for the crash? I can't say that. Did it help? No. Just saying. So, and the other thing too is like, all right, so they tested Tade and they tested Jonas. They didn't test the top 10. At least not that I know of at this point. And maybe they did later on. But you took your top 2, you didn't take the top 10. To me, that's weird. You took one guy, but you didn't test his team. That's weird. Another guy, you didn't test his team. That's weird. And you know what? I'm a kid who grew up with the X-Files, and so there's a lot of conspiracy theories, and maybe the French are just making sure the number 1 and number 2 are out so that Paul Sexas, the French phenom who's 19 years old, can move up. Am I saying that that's happening? No. And I don't believe that's what's happening. But if you were to say that's what's happening, I can't blame you. I can't say anything against it. I just can't. So, yeah, it's unfortunate. And it definitely throws into the mix of like, what are we going to do now? Who's racing? What's happening? And then you throw in, and I had said Remco can't perform in the mountains. I was wrong. I'm, an over 50 amateur rider who was happy to do 37 miles today. I'm happy to say that I was wrong. Remco, good for you. And then now he has a time trial, individual time trial coming up. Remco could be putting in some damage. And what happens from there? Leipowitz? I don't know. He was battling with Remco, but now he's not. One guy's, hey, my schlong's bigger than yours, whatever. And I'm kind of stealing a little piece from some comedy from somebody else. But their rant is much more funny, so I'm not even going to go there. What else is happening there? Del Toro now. Sexas. Who's going to be best young rider? Who's going to make that podium? The Hulk Hogan mustache of Sean Quinn is in the top 10. Here's the other thing I don't understand about yesterday's stage. Why were they chasing him? Why? If Sean Quinn went into the breakaway, they finished it off and won, and everybody else was still back here, they all have the same positions. Now, from what I understand, maybe was it Uno X maybe that had to chase because Remco was there? Maybe maybe that's there, and then there's some pieces that fall, some dominoes that fall into that, and I might have that wrong, but other than that, I don't understand why they were chasing. They'd be like, well, Quinn Simmons isn't a threat to us. He could still go up the road. Lidl Trek is trying to protect Mads Pedersen, and if you have a team that's going against Mads, you should want Sean Quinn to go, because he expends all that energy, and then he can't protect Mads later on. I'm just saying. Now, do I want Mads? Yes, I do. But I'm just saying, for that, you get Lidl Trek in the front. Trek gets, big-time promos and propers. Hulk Hogan mustache, Sean Quinn, gets big-time promos and propers. And then you try and figure out after the rest day. And then there's mountains, and there's a time trial. Do I see Sean Quinn getting a time trial? I was going to say no, but I don't know. I don't know, because Sean Quinn is an enigma. He's Hulk Hogan, but thinner, with long hair. Look at the mustache. The dude's crazy. And you don't know what he's going to be able to do. And he's there to protect Mads. So he protects Mads, but if it's something that's Mads not a stage, maybe Sean Quinn done something. EF is, they're there, then they're not. Then they're there, and they're not. And I love EF. I really, really do. But I don't know what's happening. So yesterday's stage... mosquitoes. Yesterday's stage was crazy. And once I signed off of my video and I watched the highlights, I'm like, what is happening? It was crazy. And then I had to watch highlights, and I watched Phil Guyman this morning while I was having my coffee before I went on my bike ride. And he had some really good points. And it's just, coming into this rest day, it's going to be very, very interesting. So we're almost 20 minutes in. This is probably one of the longer videos that I do. I do have one other quick point that I really want to make, so please stick with me. And if you're still here, thank you so much. And as always, like, subscribe, share, tell your friends, hit that notification bell so you know when there's a new video dropping. But we got one more thing that I really want to be able to cover. Okay, so Much like Jonas, my Tour de Beer / Tour de France will be coming to an abrupt end. However, not a crash, thankfully. But I do have to not have beers towards the end of the Tour de France. I have a medical procedure that I need to have done. Those who have followed my channel or those who know me, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I might as well just say it. It just, I'm like, whatever. No, whatever. If you've been following me, you know. If you haven't been following me and you're here, well, it's also important. I'm a prostate cancer survivor. I'm 4.5 years in. I've been clean ever since my surgery. And I am praying to God at the 5-year that everything is still the same. And then I get tested once a year instead of every 3 months or every 6 months. This procedure that I have to do after, nothing related to that. It's more preventative maintenance. Think of it as oiling your chain if you're a cyclist, getting your brakes checked if you're a driver. Don't wait until everything's gone and then you got to replace everything. Look beforehand. The hard thing and the brave thing and the right thing is to do your checks, is to do your screenings. It sucks. It's scary as fuck. I'm not going to lie. But you go and you get them done because early detection saved my life. It really did. My prostate cancer was found super, super early. I had a great doctor. We talked about the options. And here I am 4.5 years later. So this is not meant to be a soapbox thing. But as we're going into this and I realize I have another screening and another thing that needs to happen. And a few days before that, I need to prep. And I need to make sure I'm hydrated and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to be able to have as many beers. So my Tour de Beer will be coming to a short end. But I'm still going to watch the tour. So let's talk bikes and let's talk bike racing for the final week. Anyway. But until then, I can have my beer. And I'm cooking that pork chop outside, which I should go and check on to make sure it doesn't burn. But yeah, that is Tour de France, Tour de Beer, and let's call it a little PSA, a little public service announcement. Somme Brewery, Amber Ale, we covered beer style, we talked history, yes. We talked an additional beer, this Pilsner I'm still working my way through. Yes. We talked Tour de France, yes. And we talked my bike ride today, a little bit. And there's a bunch of it's going to be on Instagram, but basically I got a ride in today. Mount Agamenticus, Cat 4 climb, not long, but steep, 8% average with a 12% kicker. And for a guy of my size and my age and my abilities, it's hard. But I managed to get it done again today. And I feel like I want to do it once a month for the rest of the summer. So July is in the books. Let's see when I can fit in for August, September, and October. And in October, the leaf color, the bloomage and everything, that should be absolutely beautiful. But it's hard. It's a hard climb. But you finish it, the downhill's hard because I'm like, on the brakes. And then you scream down. And then I decided to go to Nubble Lighthouse. Nubble Lighthouse is super pretty and photographed. And it was a good ride. And it was a ride that I needed today to be able to get in a longer Monday ride. We're going to chill on Tuesday, little bit of a ride, and then also some Tour de Beer stuff. So I think we've covered all bases for the day. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks again for subscribing and that you've been here this long. I super appreciate it. I really, really do. Until then, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. Ride bikes, drink beer, do epic shit. And ride your bike. All right. See you then. Cheers.